Welcome to Life on the Moose. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today we're going to put sheathing on that roof. Yes, we are continuing to work on that entry cover. I'm on my way to the woodshed right now because I want to take inventory of what we have for plywood. Typically, I've been using OSB for my cabin projects and whatnot around here, 1/2-inch OSB at that. So I found the stack of plywood that this local lumberyard had on the coast. And if I remember correctly, they're 5/8 inch and it's plywood, not OSB. And I forgot how many I purchased at the time. It was a bundle and I need 7. I'm quite sure it's 7, but I just wanted to make sure. I also wanted to measure them just to make sure they're not 1/2 inch shy of 4 feet by 8 feet or some ridiculous thing like that, which once in a while, if you get bargains, that could be the case. So you got to be careful. There's my stack right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, good to go. Way back in November of last year, when I started this project, when I poured the footings, I actually purchased this back then. So this has been sitting out here ever since then. Maybe you've seen it in other videos. As you probably know, moisture and different air temperatures and whatnot can make plywood kind of wonky if it's not pinned down. So I just basically took these clamps, a couple 2x4s, just held them together. Yeah, they're about 9/16. Actually, it's probably 19/32, which is probably considered 5/8 in the retail world. Exactly 8 feet, that's a good sign. 48 and 5/8. Okay, now I know why they were so cheap. Like normal, before we get to the heart of the matter, there are a couple little things I'd like to take care of. So I have these clips. I just spray painted them black. Go figure. So I'm gonna put these up. I only have 3. So I'm gonna put them up, one in each corner, and then I'll just pick another one. But I wanna make sure that these ends are fastened down well. So I'm gonna put these up, and then I'm gonna also put another 5.5 inch screw and toe screw it into that beam. Can't take enough precautions because that is where the uplift is gonna occur, if it ever occurs. So this morning when you weren't looking, I did basically the same thing up in that corner right there. Added that 2x4 blocking between the last rafter and the flown rafter. That way I have something to butt my steel up against once I get to that point. So I toe screwed several in that corner. That's another very susceptible spot right there. Probably not as susceptible as this one right here. I want to make sure they're fastened down nonetheless. Okay, next item up for bid. I think I mentioned last episode that we're gonna finish the inside of this. I found some tongue and groove at an online auction. I'll get to that later. But that's gonna be finished in here with that tongue and groove. And then all my eaves and overhangs, I want to have stained like that, like this. So basically everything you see from the outside of this last rafter, inside of the flown rafter, you get the point. So I'm gonna stain all that right now where I think it's just gonna be quicker. So I can do that, I don't have to worry about the very edges. Otherwise I'd have to detail with the brush where I couldn't get the roller once the sheathing is on. Kind of like I did when I built the spur kitchen. I'll just roll the underside of that sheathing right there, right before I put it on. Okay, we are ready for sheathing. I'm gonna start with 2 long pieces in the corners, and then I have a 4-footer in the middle I'll put in. Man, that 5/8 stuff is substantially heavier than the 1/2-inch stuff. It's amazing. I am gonna try to maintain that 1/8 inch gap that you are supposed to maintain between all edges of sheeting good. And I don't have those little clips that will go between the rafters at the edge where it's susceptible to bow, where it's a little weaker right there. I don't have those clips. So I'm just gonna put blacking up under here wherever I have a seam. And I'll do that after the fact, after the sheets are up there. That way I know exactly where it ends and I don't have to measure. I just stick them up there and nail them. Okay, I have my first measurement, 74.5 inches long. So let's get cutting. Let's cut some blocking. As I mentioned, every seam is going to be blocked in this roof. I'm taking every precaution possible to make this as strong as possible because I know there's a chance that there could be a bunch of snow on that roof. So for this seam or joint, I'm going to use 2x6 for blocking. I know I have 2x8s there, but I don't want to interrupt that airflow. Not necessarily there's going to be flow, but the possibility of air movement. I don't want to block that. So I need 9 of them that are 22.5 inches long, and I need one that's 9 inches long, that small gap at the end. So I still have my block by stop here left from when we made bird blocks. So that should be still 22.5. Put just a little nick in here. perfect heavy 1/16 of an inch shorter. Because there's no such thing as a perfect board, even though the math says once you have your rafters up and down like this, there's just a little bit of a nuance. You're going to struggle getting that board in there. So do yourself a favor, cut it just a little bit less than 22.5. This is a perfect opportunity to get rid of those warped boards that you have no other purpose for. Good. Nice view, eh? Not bad. That's what all this is about. Oh, so I just got distracted. It was a few minutes ago since you last saw me. I checked my email and my engineer sent me his revised plans. So I'm going to look over them tonight, and if I approve and if everything looks good, we're done. He's going to stamp them and we can apply for that building permit like now. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put these down because they're getting heavy. And I'll see you tomorrow, which will be in a couple seconds for you. But by then, hopefully I'll have an answer on those plans. Fingers crossed. That's it. Okay, there were a couple small changes, very small, insignificant. I don't think they're going to affect the plans or the county's approval of them whatsoever. So my goal is to take these plans, print them out, and submit them for application tomorrow. We'll see if that happens. Hopefully I can find a place that can print them out and it's all good to go and my application's all filled in correctly. So eventually I'll go over all of this stuff in more detail with you. I'll let you in on what the house is going to look like, go over the plans, the process, the whole 9 yards. I've told you I would do that. I will do that. I just want to get a little bit more ahead in the process, like applying for the permit, for example. So for now, let's go finish putting the sheathing on that entry cover. Gorgeous day out, not quite as warm as yesterday. Knock on wood, so far everything is quiet outside, wind is calm. So yeah, this is my office. It's not quite finished yet, so I don't have it all decorated yet. There's boxes of stuff over there I have to put away, put up. I don't have any pictures on the wall or antlers or anything like that. Eventually, I decided to situate my desk right here. Here, I'll show you what I see. So out the window, of course, there's the view. I can see who's coming from the cabin. In front of the barn. Off to the side, you can see who's coming down the lane because, you know, we get visitors about once every 6 months. Okay, let's get back to work. So yesterday I only nailed the lower half approximately of these sheets. And one reason I didn't nail them all the way up to the top here is because I want to put my blocking up. You know, rafters are imperfect. Sometimes they do one of these. So I just wanted to give myself some leeway and some room to move these rafters if I have to a little bit to get these in. I'm splitting the seam roughly 3/4 of an inch right down the middle of this board is ideally where I want this to be. So you can see I have quite a bit of play right here and hardly anything right here. So I think I'm going to do this one first, push this one over, and then I'll tighten it all up. Then I'll use my speed square, make sure that blocking is square to the rafter. And I want to make sure my height is exactly the same as this top of this rafter. I don't want to push that sheathing up since that's not nailed yet. So I was pointing to that outrigger up there, and that's where I want my top piece to end right there. That way I don't have to block that space. So basically I just have to duplicate what I did on the bottom in exactly the same spot, but I'm gonna put it up on top toward this roof. And then in between those two layers, I'll have about 2.5 feet. And I'll stagger those joints. So let's cut this one, 74.5, same width. We're good to go. Those last pieces are not nailed in yet. So I'm gonna put these blocking in first. I only have 6 of them on this side. So I'm gonna finish up this blocking and then we'll finish up our last row of sheathing here. And then we'll go nail everything down. Okay, call me nutty, but I want to add 2 more braces. I just think it would add a lot to the looks of it. It'll add to the strength, add to the hold down power. I just think that's a good idea. So let's do that real quick. And then there's one other thing I want to do up on that roof. Okay, the last thing I want to do is put this row of screws in because I'm going to be gone for a little bit and I don't want wind to come up under there. So just taking a little precaution here. And I'm just putting the old screws in. When I'm finished with this project, I'll put new screws in all the way around. Boy, am I glad I did that. Holy cow, that looks great, I think. Thought it looked good before, but that looks even better. And it's a lot stronger. It's a lot more rigid, and I'm happy about that. I went ahead and taped the seams up there. I don't know if you can tell that from there. For the same reason I screwed that top down, I'm not gonna be here for maybe a couple of weeks. And I just don't want to take any chances of rain and water running down there and getting caught in the edges. That's not good. So not only did I tape the seams, I also taped the very top right where it meets the steel. So I think we should be good to go. But what do you think? Is this shaping up to what you thought it was gonna be? I know I've built a couple awnings on different things, the barn, the spur cabin, but this is a bigger deal. It's not for the faint of heart. Thank you for watching Life on the Moose. Hit that like button if you like this sort of thing. Come back next week. We're gonna be working on that steel. In the meantime, you take care of yourself and have some fun. I'll see you soon. you.